Our role is to promote social cohesion and peaceful resolution of conflict in communities. So we have, of course, different ways of doing that through outreach and the media. So we work with a variety of people and communities.
The Youth Stock project, which was launched in June 2019, is a youth-focused, youth-led project with two key objectives. One is to amplify the voices and agency of young people around their country's political and social issues. And secondly is also to strengthen mutual understanding and collaboration between young people and adults.
What led me to be a young journalist is that I want my voice to be heard, and not only me, but the voices of others. Because sometimes, like, they don't consider the girls, they don't hear their voices. Some people will be like, Damara Sakit, she has nothing to say.
In the conflict situation of the country, mostly youths are the participants, and yet they don't know, but they are just being led by the interests of other peoples who are behind them, who are benefiting from them. So if at all this security is to be improved, or the division should be normalized and people unite, it's all the role of the youth.
The project was actually designed to target young people, especially those from the hard-to-reach communities, especially those who are usually marginalized in communities affected by conflicts.
The trainings that we offered for the young journalists for the Lugara Shabab Youth, or the Youth Talk project, one of the training is psychosocial support or trauma healing training, which was 3 days training. The intention for this training was to support these children so that they are able to identify coping mechanisms to come out of the previous traumatic experiences they have underwent.
I didn't believe that I'm the one who is right now speaking, but when I first joined Youth Talk, I was like all the time nervous. I don't even speak. I don't know even what they are talking about sometimes, because it's not that because I don't know. It's not that because I really feel nervous, but at least I was having a lot of traumas. I have a lot of problems. I don't know how I can describe it. Not only there, even when I was there, but also in school by then, before I joined the Youth Talk project.
Ajar ketir jagar minekolo. Galta bedere ana kan askere rasa ai kan askere. Asa rasta asa fi stani da rasta ida biga zolta mutama. Hadata nasal gad mai fi bed gal ka mal da biga zol miskin gira ya mada. Ana gulda ma nasa zol gol zaira ma bukun rap kulo mayom.
So we had to develop strong criteria on how we can be able to target the hard-to-reach youth, and those criteria enabled us to recruit young people from the displaced communities, young people from the orphanages, children who have been being rehabilitated from the life in the street, children with special needs, those with disabilities, and the former child soldiers.
Our mission is to change the way people deal with conflict, communities and society deal with conflict, away from adversarial approach, away from fighting, to one of collaboration, to one of engagement, thereby building trust, relationship, and ensure that communities are able to work together, to collaborate together to promote their social well-being and to develop their communities.
All these young journalists were taken through the common ground approach. So the common ground approach was integrated into the basic journalism skills.
Common ground approach helped me actually to address some conflict situations, and also conflict management and conflict analysis, of which I come to understand conflicts from different angles.
We did focus group discussions in many areas, so that was so great.
The project targets a majority of young people who participate in listening groups and also on following our radio program on iRadio, those who are also invited to the Intergenerational Dialogue Forums. So we target also thousands of other young people out there who are also transformed by their peers through the radio programs.
The trainings, we did like journalism training, and we did also the audience research training. Under journalism, we have a lot of trainings there, and also like learning how to do interviews and also how to record the interviews, and even the programs of Lugara Shabab that we did, they were so amazing.
In which they managed to invent a radio program called Lugara Shabab, which they produce themselves. They go out to collect information, conduct interviews with adults in the communities, key stakeholders and senior government officials, and package and broadcast the program on iRadio every Saturday from 11 to 11:30 a.m.
Also, the other training that these journalists went through or attended is a basic child right protection. The aim of this training was to enable them know the basic rights of the children, and most importantly, the referral pathways in case of any child abuse. Where else could they report these issues, and if at all these services exist in the community? With much focus on safeguarding issues.
Growing up in South Sudan, I can say to some extent it was hard. It's hard, but also it's also good because it's like my motherland. And why I say it's kind of hard, it is because each and every day there are a lot of things that you go through, like a lot of struggles, and maybe you find out that other people your age mate in other places, they are not going through the same thing, so it's really hard, but you have to struggle.
As a young person growing in South Sudan, a situation full of challenges, I was always living with this type of questions in my mind every day, of which when I think of the challenging situations, I always ask, why all this? And then the second question is, I always ask, what can be done and who can do it? These are the three questions I almost face. But when I joined Lugara Shabab, actually it became part of experience that when there is a change needed, it's me, myself, to make a change.
One of the challenges that I experienced working with the young people, almost especially these ones I've been working with, is one, resistance from the parents and caretakers. Some of the parents at the beginning were not open. They had no willingness to allow their children to come and participate in the program, and it took us time to gain that trust.
The most important thing is that these parents, once they listen to the radio programs and they listen to the thing that the children talk about on the radio, which they couldn't believe really made kind of transformation. And when they hear the thing the children talk about, they were happy and also called them some respect, and also allowed them more time to be coming than before when they could refuse them coming to engage in this program. Slowly, parents gained confidence in us, started trusting us, and started allowing their children to be coming more frequently.
ده عمل تغير بيتكلم مع في قدام ناس حتى لو في علم نفر ده بشوف بكلم زي زول كبير حتى زول عنده مشكلة بقول له ما مشكلة بتاعك ما عمل كده وعمل كده ده change ده لقيته.
Lugara Shabab has become an opportunity for me in addressing issues. The first time we did an interview about forced marriage, of which is something very common in South Sudan, of which parents let their daughters get married without their will. And this is the best things we did since we joined Logarashaba.
They also plan and organize intergenerational dialogues in communities. These are simple events that are organized by adults themselves in their homes or near their homes in their neighborhoods. They collaboratively work with our staff to set up a small venue with stands and chairs, bringing together around 30 people who are basically their parents, their neighbors, and they go with their packaged radio programs, which they play in those dialogues, and then seek inputs from the community and from the elders.
We even did a lot more with the Alakids on issues to do with the early child marriages. And one of the things, the themes we did at one point, too young, I think, to be married. She was very instrumental in that club.
I'll try to act like a leader to some of the girls here, call them, talk to them about different things, because whenever they would see me, they feel like they can gain something from me. So this is what I participate. So I took that role to educate them on what they don't know, since I learned something new.
After Logarashaba, I was able to join different youth groups. And these ones give me, actually, people view at me like somebody who has that ample of knowledge. Of course I don't have, but actually from that point, people look at me, now they started calling me professor, of which I'm afraid even of the call. How can I be professor?
At first, when I was still young, I was having my dream of being a medical doctor. And after all, the time I joined St. Lawrence Academy, I was really inspired by my brother Gabriel Gag when they tried to train us to be a journalist. So I was really so interested to join the journalism club, because the way he was really training us and also the way he used to interview us was such a nice thing, which really built my confidence of being a journalist.
Media is the cheapest channel, of course, but there are also some other ways, like doing community outreach, where people gather together and talk. But actually, it's sometimes also not easy in the South Sudan situations.
For the voices of the young to be heard, first of all, those in authority, in the leadership, should also be able to recognize that the young have a role to play as far as peace is concerned and as far as development in other aspects is concerned.
From the beginning, we were not given those chances. Will those elderly actually accept us? Will those policymakers actually agree with us, with what we want to say? Of course, we have a say. And then will they agree?
Okay, one thing that we can support the young people in South Sudan, first of all, is by strengthening their capacities. And how do we strengthen their capacities? Like providing them empowerment, doing skills building, empowering them in different areas so that they are able to go out there and also stand by themselves as the youths in this country. The other thing is also giving them the opportunities, I feel like the platform, so that they can exercise their rights as the youths of this country.
We connected these children to high-profile political leaders and arranged interviews with them. So some of our young journalists interviewed the Speaker of Parliament, Nono Kumba. They met the Minister of Defense, Angelina Teng, and spokesperson of the SPLA. We let them assess those leaders and those spaces to build their confidence, to develop their confidence. And it's so encouraging to other children, seeing their peers, meeting those high-profile people, engaging them on social and political issues, things like disarmament and demobilization of child soldiers. These are kind of the topic these children brought up, and they went and engaged military leaders. So I think creating that space between children and adults to be able to interact together helps children to build that confidence.
I've become more confident because I never had confidence the first time I joined Lugara Shabab. Before we started participating in producing this radio program, I could be really shy to speak to other people, and sometimes it's hard for me to come out, like to talk to them and to find out what they're going through. Sometimes I would say that we're all going through the same thing. Why do we have to talk about it? So Lugara Shabab gave me the idea of sometimes that even if some people are going through, it's important that we share what we are all going through and we look for a solution for it.
You know, in life, young people, they mostly think about the future. First of all, what is going to be their future? And how is the future going to be like? There are a lot of challenges, of course, that we have when we are growing as young people. But if these challenges, you don't handle them well, you may end up your life.
We ensure a very strong child safeguarding policy, which we have in place, that we make sure we safeguard the children and that we also ensure their parents and guardians trust us with their children in our environment.
In case they come across or they suspect any issue or any case to do with this safeguarding, then it was able to, this was a one way to enable them know the available reporting channels. Whom can they speak to amongst the staff or the mentors whom they were working with, and then also outside there who is available to provide them with support.
We have been engaging directly 30 participants.
I like politics the more. I really want to know what those people are really thinking about our country, South Sudan. That's why I like it every day whenever we are doing programs of Lugara Shabab. I really want to go there to those big people because I want to know what they are carrying into their mind.
I now know what I can fight for and how I can do it. It also, whenever I would go for like community visits, this is something that I also participated in, where we would discuss issues that are affecting both, where we would sit with the elders, they would tell us some of how they feel like about the generation of nowadays. We also tell them of how we also feel, and through that we came to a common understanding because we aired out our problems, they also did the same.
Our vision in South Sudan is to see a South Sudan where violence is reduced, where there are equal opportunities for all, men and women, and children also participating in peace-building processes, and that there is a normal life for everyone.